Good evening, guys. This is Danielle Marshall, and today I'm going to show you how I make my bedding. This is actually going to be the last time and the only time I'm going to make bedding, because this is honestly, it's too much work for me. I am really busy and I can't seem to cut the time down. But anyways, my recipe contains of 1 grocery bag of shredded paper of any kind, mail, any kind of paper you want to shred. I would prefer to just do all one color. Like if you want to do all red construction paper or orange construction paper or just white paper, would be best, because the writing tends to have a little bit of an issue with trying to bleed it out when you're soaking it. But anyways, you'll need a big pot like this one here. If you don't have one like this, you can just do 2 smaller pots, and a strainer of any kind, doesn't have to be one like that, and a masher. Potato masher works really well, I think, and a spoon to stir it, and an extra bowl for if you have too much. You can do half at a time and form them in balls and try to strain the water out of them. And food coloring. I got blue, yellow, red, and green, and a cup to mix the food coloring in, and a little bit of water, which that'll be the last step you'll do. I have here, first you want to soak the paper in the pot and with really, really hot water, and let it sit for about 30 minutes, and stir it once in a while. Every time you do this, you want to stir it so it doesn't get real clumpy, and you can use the masher at the same time and just mash the paper down like however many times you want. And then you want to strain the water out with the paper. It'll all come out at the same time. And then you'll want to kind of shake the strainer back and forth so you get some of the water out. And then when you're done doing that, you can grab some of it and squeeze the water out, like press it into the strainer itself. And then you can grab a piece, and it's not as hard to squeeze then because it's got most of the water out. When you do that, and after you do that, you form them into balls and put them in this little bowl container here. And then you'll want to do this process 3 to 4 times. After you're done making them into balls and doing this process, then you put them back into the pot, and you put hot water in the pot again. And you do the process 3 to 4 times, however many times it takes for the paper to become soft, or for the paper to bleed out the ink, so to say. Note, not all the ink will be gone after soaking the paper. Even after 3 times, I've noticed that some of the writing is still there, and some paper doesn't soak real well, I've noticed, like really thick paper. And you really need to be careful what kind of paper you shred. Like anything with plastic, you don't want to shred it, obviously, because the hamsters will want to chew the plastic and swallow it, probably. I suggest not using any of mail paper, like, credit card things, basically like trash mail that you would normally shred because it has your name on it. Because seems to be, the wording doesn't disappear after soaking it 3 times. And that's about it on that. But it'll still work if you don't have any other paper to shred. I think that going out and buying $5 for like 500 sheets would make way more bedding than the store-bought bedding, like Carefresh or any of it, and then doing this process. It would be way cleaner, and you wouldn't have any wording to deal with, and you could soak it however many times you want. Okay, after soaking process is done, and you're satisfied with the result of the paper and how it looks, take a garbage bag and spread it out on the table. Each ball you'll want to crumble into pieces. And then after this process, you don't really have to spread it out, but I would to get it all crumbled up. And then you'll want to take your same bowl here and put either 3 to 4 cups or handfuls of your bedding, and pick what color you want to pick. Say you want to pick blue, and you want to use 4 to 6 drops, depending on how much bedding you have. If you have a lot, I would put 6. And then you can fill it up for maybe a third or a fourth of the way in the cup of water, and then kind of swirl the coloring in the excuse me, the coloring water, and swirl that liquid over the top of your crumble pieces inside your bowl. And then mix it with your hands. I would use gloves because it may stain your hands. And the food coloring is non-toxic. There's been some discussion or some people saying that it's not safe, but it is safe. It is non-toxic food coloring. It's use safe. You can't really see. Safe food coloring. It has it in parentheses. Safe. Okay. After this step 3 is done, I put my food coloring, excuse me, my bedding that's already colored, and I put it on pans. Now, if you don't have stoneware, you don't have to have stoneware to do this. You can use metal pans. Although, if you're going to use metal pans, I would probably maybe spray them very lightly and use a paper towel and rub it, because the paper might stick. I would highly doubt it probably wouldn't stick. But anyways, I would spread it out evenly and cook the bedding on 200 degrees for about 20 to 35 to 30 minutes. Now, after this, your bedding is still going to be damp. Now, this is day 1.5, and the bedding is already getting dry. Now, you could cook it longer, like 40 minutes instead of 30 minutes, but that's all up to you. Note, if you're not old enough to use an oven, now I'm sorry, I'm not trying to point anyone out, you could air dry your bedding for 3 days. It is going to take 3 days if you're going to keep it in your house. So, because of winter months, it is not ideal to dry your bedding outside because it's cold. So, and it should be dry by then. If it doesn't, just, dry it again, air dry it, or put it back in the oven, whatever you decide. After you let the colored bedding dry off, if you're going to cook the bedding, now my idea is cooking the bedding would make it softer, because if you've ever noticed, if you put anything in the dryer for part way and then put it, that's my oven, sorry. If you put it in there halfway and take it out, your stuff will not be hard, like you do pants in the dryer. Anyway, off subject, sorry. The bedding will be the same way. It'll be softer to the touch. It won't be hard, like if you were to air dry it the whole time. I think that's about it, and cooking it in the oven just cuts your dry time in half. Note again, this process takes very long. It took me 3 to 4 hours to do, and if you want to save money and you can't afford to buy bedding, this is the way you want to do it. But anyways, thank you for listening. This is Danielle Marshall again, and this is how you or I make bedding. Thank you very much. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.